We hope everyone's having a fantastic week. Over the last couple of weeks, we've been talking about electronic communications as they relate to HIPAA. A few weeks ago, we talked about emails and email exchanges with patients, and does HIPAA allow that? Last week, we talked about texts, its similarities with emails in regards to HIPAA as well. This week, we're going to talk about something a little bit different in those communications, and that's your medical record, your documentation, if you will. And the important thing to know is anytime that your electronic communications, whether it be email or text or some sort of a messaging software, is in regards to a patient's care, in regards to a patient's diagnosis, in regards to a patient's condition, those are the cases where that would need to be a part of the medical record, a part of the patient's medical record. And that doesn't mean that your communication in regards to your appointments would have to be a part of that. In other words, if you do texting reminders or email reminders of appointments, and there is an exchange about the time of the appointment, that's not necessarily a part of the medical record. That's not what we're talking about. What we're talking about is if there's an exchange about a patient's condition, if there's an exchange about a patient's diagnosis, or if you're giving recommended treatment protocols or something along those lines, anything like that in the communication, at that stage, then that becomes a part of the medical record, and there needs to be a copy of that exchange in the medical record. So what does that mean? Emails, you would need to print them and put them in your paper documentation. If you need to create a PDF and make that a part of your EHR system, if your EHR doesn't already have a mechanism in place to be able to store that information electronically as a part of the medical record, in some fashion, you need to make sure that that is included in the medical record for the patient. And same thing with texting. But more of a challenge unless you're using some sort of a cloud-based application that allows you to track all of that and it's a part of your EHR. Then you would need to find some way to either print your phone's texting, or you would need to screenshot that and make an electronic record or a printed copy that would go into the patient's medical record. Now, one of the challenges comes in, okay, where does that line really come in? And again, I'm not talking about exchanges about the appointment and about the appointment time necessarily. I'm more talking about anytime it deals with the patient's condition, diagnosis, or actually treatment. So, for example, if you were to send out an appointment reminder, and the patient were to respond to the text and say, looking forward to seeing you too, my lower back is really killing me. Seems like a rather benign statement, but just then he mentioned his condition. In this case, then that would need to be printed and made a part of the medical record because the patient's informing you about their condition. Even though they're going to repeat that most likely when they get into the office, this gives you that additional coverage to make sure that all of your communications in regards to the patient's condition, diagnosis, and treatment are going to be inside the medical record. So find a way to do that, find a way to keep track, find a way to print it, screenshot it, whatever it takes to be able to get that as a part of the medical record, and that should help you out. Hopefully this information helps you out, especially over the last several weeks. In a few weeks, we're going to pick this back up, and we're going to talk about social media and some of the challenges that are faced there, and we'll catch you then. Take care.